How do I say goodbye to what we had?
Welcome to the second episode of What We Expect. I am one of your hosts, Chris Metz, alongside the warrior, Quan Hughley. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
As always.
I'm great. So, we've got a lot to talk about today.
We do.
It's been a pretty eventful week in the world of professional wrestling and sports entertainment.
Yes.
So strap in, get your seatbelts ready if you're listening to this, on your way to work, because it's going to be a good one.
It's definitely going to be a great one.
A little bit of, I guess if you want to call it housekeeping.
Uh-huh.
Really appreciate the fact that you guys listened to our first episode over 100 times. We definitely appreciate that. We were getting some positive comments in as well. We definitely appreciate those, and we read all of those, and definitely relay that amongst to each other.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of stuff in the works coming within the next couple of months, so keep an eye out for that. Maybe a guest, maybe a special interview. Who knows?
Definitely stay tuned for everything that we have coming up. I think it's going to be really wonderful for everyone that listens, and I think everyone will enjoy everything that we have to talk about, just give you insights on. So this is definitely perfect for you to listen to all of what we have to say.
And then for the second week in a row, Zach is here with us.
Yes, he
Did
is.
not plan for this one today, just like last time. So maybe we'll just have Zach here when we record. Who knows? Could be our just.
Zach might be our good luck charm.
Yeah,
for anything.
That was good. That was a very good conversation that we were having.
Oh yes.
Especially not knowing that he was basically the encyclopedia of MMA.
Shit happens.
Shit happens.
But like I said, we have a lot to talk about. I want to start off with something kind of lighthearted before we get into this, because obviously this week's episode is going to touch a more serious side of things that and it's one of those things that we don't really like to talk about.
Right.
And it's one of those things that you hope to not have to talk about.
Right.
But so Quan, in continuation of our story from last week, top 5 favorite wrestlers.
Top 5. This was a.
Doesn't have to be WWE. Doesn't have to be.
It can be anything.
Anybody from any era.
Right.
So if you say Luthez and then say Rico from.
Or if I say D'Lo Brown.
D'Lo Brown? Dude, don't talk shit about D'Lo Brown.
Listen, my stepdad looks like D'Lo Brown.
Does he?
I always tell him that.
Did you get him to go up on the top rope and do the thing with his hands?
He hasn't did that because he hates me for ever saying it.
That's former NWA champion D'Lo Brown to you.
Listen, I love D'Lo Brown. Coming out with the hands pointing, head swinging. I know everyone can't see that.
But does he make your top 5?
No, hell no. Sorry, D'Lo. Listen, I love you.
D'Lo, if you're listening to
do
this,
not make my top 5.
We love you. Come do an interview with us.
Top 5 gimmicks, maybe.
What gimmick? D'Lo Brown didn't have a
D'Lo had a gimmick of his own image.
He was just a happy dude.
That's his own image. That's a gimmick.
That's
him coming out, pointing everyone, and putting the hand.
That's every WWE babyface.
No, anyone cannot do what D'Lo Brown was doing, man. He was the only guy. If you think about his head and how he came down the entrance and pointing that, how his head used to move, bobbing and weaving.
Could you imagine Steve Blackman coming out like D'Lo Brown, nunchuck in hand?
But top 5. There's no specific order.
No, I'm asking for a specific order. No,
I'm not. I was going to say, okay. Yeah, there's no specific order in who I do name. Of course, I have to include Randy Orton because that's my guy. Would you say,
if you had to give a definitive answer, though, is he your favorite of all time?
Oh, yeah, Randy Orton's my favorite of all time.
So we can place Orton at 1. Okay.
You can place him at 1 as far as, for my opinion. It had to be Randy Orton. I love AJ Styles.
Oh, yeah, good choice.
Eddie, of course. Eddie Guerrero. That's my guy. I love Eddie Guerrero.
It's 3.
We have Goldberg.
Oh,
I love Goldberg.
Really?
I love Goldberg.
In your top 5?
Yes, I love Goldberg. I know this list is going to sound crazy, but I'm one that
I saw your
the normal list.
I saw your tweet or comment, whatever it was earlier,
on Facebook, probably.
Yeah, where it said Goldberg, and I was like, I'm gonna bring that up later.
Yeah, Goldberg is. Listen, I just loved everything about coming through the pyros. You know,
I get
busting over busting his head to the door, hitting his head on the door. You know, I loved everything about him.
I get it.
And then
I don't agree with him, but I get it.
I understand. But of course, Undertaker. Undertaker is going to be getting my fifth.
Ooh, that's another one where I'm like,
listen, it's. I understand as far as what people have done and whatnot. You know, you can always. A lot of people will always go with Ric Flair throwing it in there or Stone Cold, which I wanted those Stone Cold in there, but I can't.
Stone Cold's
right now.
To me, like Stone Cold's an honorable mention.
Yeah, The Rock. You know, people like Triple H, but as far as mine is, you know, like I said, Randy Orton, Eddie Guerrero, Goldberg, Undertaker, AJ Styles, just as far as anyone being, you know, AJ Styles is just one of those guys who can do it all. And just for his size, I always loved what he can do in the ring, just for as far as every move that he can do that anyone else couldn't do. But that's my top five.
Okay.
No order.
Except for Orton,
Except for Orton. Because I love Orton is just one of those guys.
Oh, we could do an episode just on him alone.
Listen, Orton, he could be number one as far as outside of the ring guys. You know, when you get Orton outside of the ring, he's one of the most dangerous wrestlers that you could mention.
I think also in the ring for sure, because he's always been somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
He's always been somebody to where it's like, you know, he's good. Mm-hmm. He knows he's good, but he never really like goes to his full potential unless he wants to.
Right. Exactly. But you have, you know, like Randy Orton, you go outside of the ring if you want to, if you need to name anything. And then, of course, his finishers are there. And then, of course, he's a 13-time...
Is it 13 now?
Yeah, he's 13. Champion.
Everybody's catching up to Flair. Fuck.
He's, 3 behind? Because it's Flair and Cena tied. Then it's Triple H.
With 15.
And then it's him.
Yeah.
But then you have AJ Styles, who has been everywhere, but just what he does in the ring, mic skills wise.
WWE champion for almost a year.
Oh my gosh, awesome. Goldberg, I know that's a
hot one.
That's a hot one.
That's a hot one.
But you know, just as far as he was a guy who wasn't losing a lot when he first came in. They booked him kind of wrong at certain points, but just from him cementing the spear, the jackhammer, him coming through the pyro.
Didn't WCW do a thing where he got stabbed?
They did, which was so stupid. But that was wrestling at the time, and we believed it then. As far as anything else.
Oh, dude, yeah, absolutely.
Undertaker, of course, the myth, legend.
See, I'm going to come out and say it. I'm going to get this out of the way for future episodes. Never have liked The Undertaker.
Really?
He's always been somebody I look at and I'm like, I don't like him.
Why?
It's just, I always thought, like, as a kid, I just didn't buy into the character.
You don't never be freaked out by the doom.
I don't get the chills in the same way. Like when I see it, and like this is kind of cynical, and I'm gonna be wearing my like smart wrestling fan shirt when I say it, but it's like, to me, I just don't get enjoyment out of watching a 50-year-old dude with a bad hip.
No. Hold on. You can't say that now. We're talking about before.
Like, you mean when I was a kid?
Before, when you was a kid, or even when he was in his 30s or 40s, early 40s.
I really enjoyed his feud that he had with Edge.
That was a good feud.
I enjoyed.
You didn't enjoy the feud with Randy Orton? Remember when he had the
when they did
fake Randy Orton and his dad in the casket?
I liked that, but that wasn't like most of my favorite moments with Undertaker come from the people that he like has been wrestling with.
Okay.
Like I definitely respect the dude and everything that he's done. Like
right.
he's done a lot of the craziest shit I've ever seen in wrestling, but he's just not somebody where I've always been like, man, Undertaker's my favorite. Like same with Hogan.
Right. I can get where you're coming from.
Like I definitely appreciate like a lot of the shit that he did. Remember when he took that fall off the top of the ladder through those tables at TLC against Edge?
Yeah.
Or when
what about him jumping over the rope and almost cracking his neck like Lita?
When he hit the cameraman?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
You know,
like
we
shit
had
like
that
that.
same
Like
thing.
I definitely respect, and I liked the old like Attitude Era shit. Like the more I've been watching it, the more I guess I've come to appreciate him. But like in the overall, I just don't.
I think you need to watch him again.
Maybe I do.
I think that's what it is. I think, from my personal opinion, how I'm hearing that you're saying this, I think that it is one of those things where
I always like
you
Kane
was
more.
young, you was kind of younger, to where you didn't really get to appreciate him like that because you didn't really understand it at the time.
Yeah, I mean maybe.
Because Kane,
I mean,
he's
I
been still wrestling.
I've always loved Kane though.
Yeah, and Kane, he has been wrestling.
Except for like, I think I maybe stopped liking Kane
Mhm.
in like 2012.
Well, when he started speaking.
No.
Okay.
2012 was when he came back and started wearing the mask again.
Okay.
And they did that love triangle with John Cena and Zack
right,
Ryder.
That's right. I forgot about that.
But like 2010 Kane, when he like, I think peak Kane is when he was bald and he was like on SmackDown. Remember when they did that angle where
I
he
love that Kane
incapacitated the Undertaker and like him in the Nexus and shit.
But I do think that you need to watch The Undertaker again. Maybe watch some of the Brothers of Destruction. Do you remember the episode? It's going to kind of go far-fetched, and then we're going to get back to the top 5 and we'll get yours.
Yeah, of course.
But do you remember when the Brothers of Destruction wreaked havoc over a Raw show? They just kept coming out and attacking anyone that was wrestling.
Didn't that just happen like a couple of weeks ago?
No, I didn't. If it did, I didn't watch SmackDown to see it.
Or it was Raw. Yeah, it was
see
either
it.
like a couple of weeks ago or like a month or so ago. I
They just
remember
kept-
something similar to that happened. I know they like cleared house in preparation with their fucking nursing home match with DX.
That could be maybe, but this, I think it was a little bit different from that because even though I didn't see it, but if you think about this, you have to watch that episode because literally any match that was coming on, you heard the Brothers of Destruction music hit, and they was coming out to the
Was
ring.
it that mashup of both of their themes?
Huh?
Was like their music was like the mashup of Kane and Undertaker's
Yeah,
theme?
pretty
Yeah,
much,
I remember that
pretty
being lit.
All right, then let me get to my last one, Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero. I respect that. I would say
what's the word that they always use in WWE? Trailblazer.
legend, icon.
But I mean, Eddie Guerrero, you can't go wrong with
They really
Eddie
like.
Guerrero, man.
I've been watching a lot of the old Eddie stuff on SmackDown.
Mhm.
They really like put him with a fucking racist ass gimmick, man.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. I mean, we talked about it a lot, but I mean, that's what comes.
Like him coming out in the lowrider and being like, "I lie and cheat and steal." I was like, "Holy fuck, this would not fit in with 2018."
For sure. Oh hell no, hell no. But I mean, that's WWE, and that's how they.
Oh,
sell.
they're always
like,
like 10
sell-
years behind.
Who we're selling to as far as a market.
They took your
But-
germs.
But I did love, as far as Eddie Guerrero, that I lie, I cheat, I steal. Sasha does it. I love Sasha.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Sasha Banks.
Absolutely.
Coming out in the low rider, him doing the frog splash.
When
anything.
when Sasha did that takeover match where she came out with the Escalade,
Yeah,
I was like, "That's Eddie."
That's
like
Eddie, all
right
the way.
there.
But those are my top 5 though. I love those guys as far as wrestling, as far as gimmick,
Bless you.
as far as talking on the mic skill. I think everything about those guys, it is special to me. Honorable mention to CM Punk, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I love CM Punk to death, but I just can't put him over those guys that I just said right now. But if he was able to crack it, him and Stone Cold definitely.
Man, that's a match I wanted to see.
Stone Cold and
Oh
CM
my
Punk.
god, that's
That
like
would've been
it's a
awesome.
story that writes itself with the fucking beer drinking redneck
Oh my
against the
gosh.
straight edge asshole.
Do
Like,
you remember those their little skit? When,
Oh, you mean
when
backstage?
CM Punk was like, "What?"
yeah. Well, they did that interview
Oh yeah,
where they sat down, and that was a good one. And they
was a good interview.
they both just were fucking eyeballing each other the
Mhm.
whole time, and you could feel the tension.
Oh my gosh, it was, but it was great for TV. But your turn.
So my top 5. This is gonna look. This is
Sketchy.
it's not sketchy, but it's gonna definitely like again expose my like smart wrestling fan, I guess.
Maybe not, man. It's all opinions. So that's
my favorite wrestler of all time though is Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho. Okay, you can't go wrong with that though.
So this is hard for me.
He's definitely in my top 10.
Jericho's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody ever, I feel like, in wrestling that's been able to reinvent themselves and keep themselves relevant like as much as Chris Jericho has.
Right.
But like the fact that people are like complaining now where he's like the New Japan Intercontinental Champion and
it makes absolutely no sense.
But you're talking about it.
That's facts, but it makes absolutely no sense of people complaining about him doing that.
Oh, I thought you meant like it made no sense with him being.
Not at all.
I don't get it with people complaining about it because they said that Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega's match like brought several 100,000 like new subscribers to New Japan, and those are people who watch the event. Like I see it all the time on the internet where people are like, I wasn't a New Japan fan, but like I came for Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega, right. And I stayed for Okada and Naito and all of those matches, and everybody was like, wow, like I had the wrong idea about the Young Bucks.
Mm-hmm. And then they see everybody else's match and they're like, oh,
exactly.
This is actually pretty good.
But Jericho, CM Punk,
okay, yeah, for sure.
Probably Ric Flair. Because I grew up.
Can't go wrong with Ric Flair.
I grew up watching Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and everything like that because my dad was a huge NWA fan. Right. So like anytime WWE put out like, because remember back in the day you had to get those 5-disc DVDs. Mm-hmm. So anytime like WWE put out like a Dusty Rhodes video or like a Ric Flair or like Best of the AWA or whatever videos, like we always had those, and like I just really grew up to appreciate like Southern wrestling instead of like sports entertainment.
It's funny, my great grandma used to, you want to watch wrestling? Actually, rest in peace to her. She's the one who got me into wrestling.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
She used to call it wrestling now. You want to watch wrestling?
Yeah, my grandma does the same thing. My grandma like is obsessed with Sting though.
Is she?
That was always her thing, dude. She always had so much like Sting shit in the house, like when I was growing up.
I think I think when I always hear older people was obsessed with Sting, I always think like, oh, they're obsessed with him because
obsessed
they
with the police.
No, not that. They're obsessed with Kiss.
Well, Sting's from the Crow, but
no. I'm talking
you mean like
about
the face painting? Oh, I get
and
that.
the hair and all that. I'm thinking like, okay, it's just because Kiss. Kiss was super huge for anyone.
That's
back
true.
In the day.
70s, 80s.
So I'm like Sting. I'm like, oh, he kind of
makes sense.
Symbolized that. That's all. That was always my look on it. But you done said
Jericho,
CM Punk, Ric Flair. Before you go to your next one, Ric Flair. People forget how good Ric Flair was.
That's the whole thing, man. Everybody just complains about like him being out with Charlotte in her corner, but it's like that's Ric fucking Flair.
16-time world champion.
More than that, because WWE doesn't recognize a lot of them. It's somewhere like 21, I think, is the number.
We looked that up one day.
We did. But it's someone to me where it's like, if you look at the schedule that Ric Flair did back in the day, that was 6 days a week and twice on Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, this dude would wrestle like 2 to 3 times a day in different parts of the country every fucking day. And not only just like, I shouldn't even say different parts of the country, different parts of the world. And this was somebody who like wasn't afraid, because back in the day, they had the territories, and each territory had like their main star.
Right.
Like Ric Flair was not a guy who was afraid to go over. Like he won matches, but a lot of the times they ended in draws because like he wasn't somebody who was afraid of like making the other person look good.
Right.
But he still looked great in the process of doing it, and people like don't remember the fact that like the late 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up until like the mid fucking 2000s, this man was on top of the game and on top of the world.
He was doing his thing.
And that is what makes me mad, like when I see people talking about like what a shell he is, or like why is WWE shoving Ric Flair's down our throats, but it's like, go watch the fucking network. I wish they would throw out like a best of Ric Flair collection. Maybe they have. I don't know. I don't think I've seen it, but I wish they would do something like that to show people like just whoever, like just what Ric Flair was. People that are listening to this right now, if you think Ric Flair is just like the worst thing you've ever seen, Go watch his matches with Ricky Steamboat. Go watch his I Quit match with Terry Funk. Go watch his cage matches with Dusty Rhodes and Harley Race. And then come back to me and when you're a fan.
You know what? This is my love-hate. This is one of my love-hate relationships with the WWE. Because I always have love that... Because WWE is unlike any other sport. Simply because you can literally take people from the past and you can put them up against the newcomers.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't do that in any other sport because it doesn't look right. You can't have a Jordan going against a LeBron. You can never have that. But you can have a Hogan going against a John Cena.
Hogan and Rock.
You had that. But that's what makes me love WWE because you can always have that certain type of situation. But then I hate it at the same time because you have trouble.
How you doing, Undertaker?
You have trouble, making newer wrestlers, and then you bring these old guys back, which CM Punk was saying. Remember his pipe bomb? He was like, I'm not on any of the promotions. I'm not on any of your cups, stuff like that. But you have Dwayne on here, which Dwayne's still young, but at the same time, you just have trouble creating new wrestlers.
I can't hate The Rock.
No, I know. I'm not saying I hate The Rock, but I understood what CM Punk was saying, and I wanted to bring that into play because you have trouble creating new wrestlers. Because you want to continue having Triple H, the Rock come back, Undertaker. You want to have Shawn Michaels come out of retirement, and it doesn't make no. I mean, it makes sense in a sense, but it doesn't make no sense at the same time. That's the 50-50 part.
I get that.
Yeah, for sure.
My number 4. Is this? I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion because I feel
Hold up, before you go with it, you have.
So I got Jericho, Punk, Edge.
No, that's who you going with.
I was gonna say Edge, but that wasn't my next.
So you have Jericho, Punk, Flair, and now you're going to Edge.
Well, I wasn't going to Edge now, but Edge is definitely my 5th one. I was gonna say Triple H.
Ooh. No, that's not unpopular. He's a 14-time world champion.
I think it's unpopular for the fact that it's like people always think about like that time in 2004. Remember when he was on Raw and was world champ and he held it for like a long ass time, and people he apparently during that time he like a real piece of shit, like politicking his way, but it's like I don't give a fuck about any of that. Like the man on camera, the 2-man power trip with Steve Austin, where they were holding all the fucking belts. Mm-hmm. You can't deny DX.
No, not at all.
Can't deny DX. You can't deny Evolution. I mean, in recent years, the whole authority thing has been kind of whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's like the authority thing becomes good. I allow it. Like I give that a pass. Because like when it's approaching like Mania season or something like that, that's when the authority storylines like really work.
They was trying to continue like Vince McMahon,
right? Like, and I understand that, but it's like to me, like it gets annoying like every week when it happens. Mm-hmm. But when you have something like the build up to Triple H and Sting, or like the whole build up with Triple H and Daniel Bryan, or even Triple H and Ambrose when they had that match, and Triple H and Roman.
I forgot about that.
Like the biggest thing like that got Roman Reigns over as a fucking babyface was, remember when he just beat the shit out of Triple H and everybody cheered him. That was the only time that everybody like unanimously was like, yes, Roman Reigns, fuck yeah. It's because Triple H is just such a goddamn good heel. And you can hate him no matter what the fuck he does.
Exactly.
And it's like those people that complain about those authority like 20-minute promos to start Raw is it's like that's why they do it, because Triple H, you're supposed to fucking hate him. You're supposed to not look forward to those.
That makes sense. Listen, I love your list so far.
But yeah,
it's a great list.
5 is Edge.
5 is Edge. I love your list, man.
Thank you.
But it's funny because we're two different personalities, right?
For sure.
But our list, it doesn't go with what normal people say. Both of our lists.
You good?
Are you good?
Yeah.
Can't handle your alcohol?
That shit a little bit harder than it did last time. Fuck.
But both our lists, man, it's just it doesn't go with the ideal of what people normally name.
So
your Stone Cold, your Rocks, your Ric Flair, your Hulk Hogan, your Sting, whoever you want to say.
the one thing that I appreciate between like our dynamic, if you want to call it that, is it's like you and I have two completely different yet almost the same perspectives.
Oh
on
yeah,
wrestling.
for sure.
And I think that just makes really incredible conversation for, and just especially with like you present things in a way where, and I feel like I kind of present things in a way to you to where it's like you make yourself go, didn't see it from that angle.
That makes sense. But your next person, your fifth,
Edge.
Edge.
Oh my
I love
God.
Edge.
Where do I start with Edge?
Rated R.
Oh man, Rated R. Him and Vicky Guerrero.
Vicky.
Edge and Christian. Like,
you know what? Can I do a side note real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
Vicky Guerrero
100% deserves Hall of Fame.
He does not get the respect. What she in the wrestling community, but hindsight, bigger wise, I don't think she get the respect that she really deserves, because she, with her and Edge, or her and Dolph Ziggler, or
her and Dolph, yeah.
I mean, she's just been awesome. I always loved Vicky Guerrero.
I think she made, so I think the Rated R Superstar stuff catapulted Edge up into superstardom.
Oh yeah.
But I think that everything he did with Vicky and everything that Vicky did with him, they just took each other to just a whole other level. Like, especially where it's like they were just so fucking sleazy, man. Like the way they would just fucking go at it and make out on TV like that. You don't see that.
I mean, Edge, he's 11-time.
I think, I'm not sure on the exact numbers. I can look it up.
Yeah, he's 11-time or 12-time champion.
No, the man,
he's proven.
He's absolutely proven, but I feel like he's often overlooked, like in the
he's definitely
in the talk of greatest of all time. Like, just because I don't think he's been gone long enough for people to appreciate him, or at least like there are people. I'm not saying there aren't like people who appreciate him, because there clearly are, but I think he's just still like fresh in everybody's mind of like he could probably come back, which I don't think he will, but I think a lot of people still kind of hold on to that thought that he would like is someone who can still come back anytime he wants to.
Exactly. When I look at Edge, I mean, he had one of the saddest retirement speeches ever.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's 11-time.
Yeah, 11-time. That's what I thought.
Yeah, good stat though.
But when he retired, man,
on my birthday.
It was on your
birthday? My fucking birthday, dude. I came home from school. I was like, I'm gonna watch Monday Night Raw. It's my birthday. Me and my parents went out to eat. I remember this day clear as day. And then it was like, Edge has an announcement to make on Raw? Question mark. And I was like, ooh, Edge is on Raw? Because I'm pretty sure he was on SmackDown at that time. And he fucking retired. My heart was broken. I was like, what a happy birthday to me from the fucking universe.
That's what I always tell people when I'm watching wrestling. I always tell them, man, you put your heart into things. When you get stuff like that,
oh my God,
it's shattering.
It really is, man.
It's shattering.
Because it's like, especially with these people, it's a lot in the same vein of like how people get attached to like NFL stars, because it's like you're spending a lot of your fucking life with these guys. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like growing up now, and I mean we're getting to a point where everybody that we watched when we were kids is going to be done. It's like, fuck.
It's ridiculous.
Except for Terry Funk. Terry Funk never retired.
Terry Funk never retired.
So
Jerry Lawler.
Oh my God, that man's gonna be wrestling.
Never retires. He's another guy. But shit, your top five. I love your top five.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yours was very, very good in the sense of like, you made me think about the impact that Undertaker had.
I think you really need to watch. I mean, sometimes when you given these. Top 5 lists and whatnot. When you start thinking about some people
it's
that
harder.
Some people name, it's just like
there's so many people you could interchange. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
I could easily throw like Kenny Omega in that. I could easily throw in Eddie, AJ Styles.
Exactly.
Which, like, I really wanted to say AJ because I love AJ. Or like I could throw in Christopher Daniels or Frankie Kazarian or any of those guys. Like, it's very hard to say like the top 5. I think maybe a top fucking 50 is better.
Listen, even
like Rob Van Dam, like guys like that.
I thought about Rob Van Dam when I said the Frog Splash because Rob Van Dam was one who was doing that same thing.
Crazy for his time.
I mean, you can, regardless of. I mean, you could even say Bully Ray.
Oh, for sure. I think that with the way, especially Bully Ray from like 2011 to now, when he started that Bully Ray persona, it was crazy. Like when I was a kid, I was in high school. We used to go to TNA all the time, and it was like this was right around the time where Bully Ray was becoming a thing, and man, it was just like fucking nuts to see it like week after week. Like
it was ridiculous.
He's one of the last true like piece of shit heels in wrestling.
Yeah, he even said it on Twitter. He was like the last heel in the world or something like that. Basically,
because he hasn't like wavered from it. Like
that's
other
one
than
of the true statements that you could ever say.
If you think about it, he really just hasn't wavered from that Bully Ray persona, except for like when they were back with the WWE for a few months.
Yeah, right. Before we go into our next subject, and now that we're on the persona of heel and whatnot, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of heels, right? Not like true heels. I can name Samoa Joe,
Tommaso Ciampa,
of course, but there's not a lot of true heels, right?
Define. What do you think true heel? What is your definition of true heel?
When I think of a heel personality, I think of it being, disrespectful, super nasty. Randy Orton, I'm putting him in there right now.
Especially Hell in a Cell when he jabbed that fucking screwdriver through Jeff Hardy's ear.
For sure. I don't. Becky Lynch has been a
savage, dude.
Heel,
fucking savage,
and I love that. WWE Universe doesn't want to accept it, of course, because they love Becky Lynch. Which to me, I was like, that doesn't
I'll
make
love
sense
to hate Becky Lynch.
Heel. Huh?
I'll love to hate Becky
That's
Lynch.
what it is. Love to hate. But I think of heels as in a sense of that, super savage, disrespectful to whatever the hell, religious belief. It doesn't matter. It's like the UFC. UFC does that. There's people who are able to be who they are just being disrespectful.
I would say in the last year or so, my first one, by the way, is gonna be one that I feel like may open up a discussion just because a lot of people. It was a very controversial thing at the time. I think Jinder Mahal.
Oh,
true motherfucking heel, dude.
True heel.
People
don't want to hear
people
that.
hated that motherfucker.
They
did. That means dude's doing his job to the T. He deserves those paychecks that he's cashing. Like
that's facts.
People fucking hated that, and great. That was what was supposed to happen. Give you somebody that you just absolutely hate.
Listen, them bringing before you go on, them bringing him and who's with Dolph Ziggler?
Drew McIntyre.
Bringing them two back and repackaging them. That was the best thing that
Drew
could ever do.
Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler are also very good pieces of shit heels.
Yeah, they are. I
love Dolph as a heel, man. Like, I get that I'm not supposed to, but like he's just so fucking cool when he's a heel, man.
He is.
Like that whole. I remember I bought that shirt that he had that said like "Stealing the Show" and your girlfriend too.
I feel like WWE is going back in that direction
of just piece of shit heels.
Dean
Ambrose.
Because remember I texted you this and I was like, audience, I told him, I was like, they're saying ass a lot.
I don't think
kick your ass.
I don't think they're gonna go back to Attitude Era or anything by any means, but
I don't think that either. But here I am sitting back as a complete fan. I'm like, why not? You have UFC. Remember when I sent you, or remember when I told you, dude? Remember I was like a UFC dude. He was like, they asked him, but they say he was like, why you take your shirts off? He was like, 'cause my balls were hot.
Yeah.
And I was like, why can't WWE do this?
Because they're advertisers and...
Dude, people are still going to accept you.
Yeah, I mean, I get what they're doing. I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with it, but...
That's right.
I wish, especially, what was it, Roman Reigns, when he was like, I'm going to kick your butt.
Alright.
So, Roman Reigns. This past week, again, this is something, like I said before, you just wish you never have to talk about it.
Right.
But, as we're all pretty much probably very well aware of, he had to retire as Universal Champion because he was diagnosed with leukemia.
Let's put the quotation behind that. Take off, just in case. Take off time.
Well, okay. Well,
just in case, we want to put that.
I don't
behind
think
it.
I truly don't think that people, because there were people saying, like, I saw saying that he'd be back by 2020. And it's like, I don't think you think leukemia is what you think it is.
Right.
Like,
there's not a lot of studies behind leukemia like that. But still, at the same time, I do want to put those quotations behind it.
I do hope,
just
for a
just
standpoint,
to put it out there.
for a standpoint of his personal health,
Right.
I hope he is able to come back and wrestle one more match, at least.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
At least, like, I think, obviously, with it being his second time with leukemia,
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking into some facts about that before we talked about it, and the mortality rate of somebody in his shape and his age of leukemia is only 7%.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he has like a very good chance of pulling through it, but obviously,
It's a long.
it's a long recovery. He may not ever be the same again. Like, bottom line, I just want the dude to be happy and healthy.
Come back.
Not even. He doesn't even have to come back. Like, I just want the dude to
That's
live.
true.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to boo Roman Reigns the character, but it's another thing to
Be Joel.
hate Joe on OI.
Nah, when he was saying that on Monday Night Raw, I was, sorry, I'm burped.
You're good. I mean,
I was thinking that
wasted.
That's fact. I was thinking at that time because I done had my grandma who passed to cancer, and
Yeah, it's tough. I've had a bunch of people in my family pass to it.
It's tough to deal with. So when he was saying that, I watched it over and over again. But it definitely sucked for him, just because of everything that WWE, if not WWE and himself, but as far as when I'm speaking, as far as WWE, what they put him through, just to get championships, to win it one night, lose it to Seth, to get brutally beat by Brock Lesnar over and over again, to go years without getting that championship. I was just like,
I do think he's got to be.
lot.
I think even he's frustrated. He was frustrated with it in the moment.
You could tell it.
Sometimes, yeah. But so, with that being said, a couple things that I wanted to talk about. Like, I know when I was sitting down and thinking about just all the moments that he's had, where it's like, I never was a fan of the booking of Roman Reigns.
Right.
I was always a big believer that there should be more than one guy that you have at the helm of your ship.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that was my problem with it.
Me and you are together.
But other than that, like, I always thought he was a good wrestler. I always thought he had good promos, like, especially that promo after Mania when he fought The Undertaker, when he just came out and stood there for like 15 minutes, and everybody was just like, "Fuck you, Roman." And then the only thing he said was, "This is my yard now." And then he left. I was like, that's so good. Because apparently it was supposed to be scripted otherwise.
Can I say this right quick? Just because you were saying that, I've never... with Roman Reigns, I didn't think he was a good wrestler.
Really?
No, I didn't.
This
ain't going to be very popular, but I didn't think he was a good wrestler. Because I thought... As far as him coming out, he only had 2-3 moves that he did. I don't never think that wrestlers like that. Not a good wrestler. If you look at any of his matches,
I support the argument with Hulk Hogan, but I have seen matches of his like where he's done a hell of a lot more, and he was very good at it.
Listen, this.
But that's the WWE style.
Right. That's
less
true,
is
that's
more.
true.
You know what I mean?
Less is more. That's facts. But when I watch, Roman Reigns over, in NXT, or if you
in comparison like the NXT guys and to even a lot of the main roster, Roman Reigns is as WWE guy as you can get.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm not taking that away from him, but what I thought, I was like, nah, this isn't what wrestlers should exemplify.
Is he better than Seth Rollins?
No, hell no.
Is he better than Dean Ambrose?
Hell no.
God, no. Not when Dean Ambrose is a fucking
Oh
smart
yeah, and you done seen?
or...
Did you see some of the matches from Dean Ambrose before he was in anywhere?
Oh,
Backyard wrestling?
absolutely.
Getting cheese grater.
CZW all day, baby. King of the Death Match.
But you can name 5-10 wrestlers before you name Roman Reigns, don't you think?
I agree with that, but I also think...
But I ain't taking nothing from him, though, because I know Roman Reigns works his ass off. I'm just not impressed.
The man is a person that if he walks into a room, you're looking at him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Your head
because
turns.
he's, Samoan?
He's a big fucking jacked up
dude,
Samoan dude, like
tattoo, long hair, shiny.
He has like that. Likely. He has that ideal like jaw structure that people look for.
Yeah.
Like the dude is somebody who he just exudes like that it factor.
He exudes the attention.
I can totally understand why WWE, has done the way that they have done with him in the last few years, and even I think they did him dirty the last year.
He's still
so
Rock's cousin, so that takes on for anything.
They did him so dirty with losing the Brock Lesnar shit. Like that was one of those things like you could tell Roman was frustrated with the booking of like make up your fucking mind.
You talking about when
they fucking
he speared him through the cage?
Yeah, greatest Royal Rumble. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, let's talk about. Do you have any favorite Roman moments?
With Roman, I had my favorite moment for Roman Reigns was him spearing Braun Strowman.
Which one was that?
Braun Strowman was coming down the ramp, and then he speared his ass. Let me do a WWE commentary. He speared his ass through the hell.
Oh my god.
But Braun Strowman was coming down the ramp, and here comes Roman Reigns to spear his ass right then and there, and that's one of my favorite moments because I was like, damn, he took him off his foot, and I was like, okay.
What about the that tag match you had with Bray Wyatt? Where Bray pinned the dude, he pointed, and then Roman speared him.
You know what? Some of my favorite matches was with the Shield versus the Wyatt.
Oh, that one they had at Elimination Chamber. The Tornado 6-man. That was a good one.
Yeah. Them putting Undertaker through the announce table?
That was a good one. Or, what about that match where they just fucking destroyed Evolution? Ooh, remember the Elimination?
Yeah. Oh, that was a fire-ass match.
That was where Seth took the dive off the balcony.
Yes. That was a fire-ass match. Roman Reigns does have, because when I asked you, I think, maybe, they came in 2014? 15?
No, the Shield debuted in 2012, man.
2012, that's right.
Because they debuted as Punk's Muscle in that triple threat match with Cena and Ryback.
They done did so much.
Dude, the Shield guys have done so much, and it does not feel like they've been around for fucking 6 years at this point.
Let's get this story out. Because I done talked to you about it.
Which one?
Seth Rollins.
What about Seth?
A cancer.
Whoa.
No disrespect to anyone. But ever since he turned, I told you this, ever since he turned, they done had bad shit happen.
I don't think it's Seth that's the problem.
You don't think so?
I think it's like, I don't think there's any fucking curse, like the Shield curse or whatever. I get that it's like bad timing and everything like that. Maybe Lil B put a curse on him, but
maybe.
But no, I don't think, because Seth blew out his knee, came back.
Dean Ambrose.
But that's not Seth's fault. I think that's the Shield as like a whole, because Roman was the first one to go down, wasn't he?
No.
Yeah, Roman.
Shield was.
The Shield reformed, and then their match where they came back, Roman was out.
Seth was the first person.
In the Shield.
Oh, okay.
And then that's when they had Kurt Angle, who was like, "I'm just happy to be here."
No. The Shield got back together.
That's what I just said.
No, all right. Let's start this over. As far as the Shield, as far as Seth hitting Roman with the chair,
Okay,
Seth was the first person to get injured.
but I'm saying like as the Shield.
No, yes. What even that?
Seth
No. But that doesn't matter though, right?
But I'm not like pointing that in the curse. Everybody's saying like the Shield reunion is cursed.
Okay.
Because every time they try to go to reunite, like something happens. Which I mean, I get it. I think it's purely fucking coincidence, but
that makes sense.
I think it also, barring Roman Reigns'
Right.
obviously unfortunate leukemia diagnosis,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the problems that plagued the Shield reunion was the WWE schedule.
I'm not knocking anything that you say.
300 days a year, bro.
We talked about this.
And it's not even like the wrestling that's the hard part. It's the fucking going from town A to town B.
Like,
obviously, the wrestling is hard and adds to it. But
let's talk about this real quick. All right. But you don't think that, as far as anything,
fire. Zach's taking fucking
that's
pictures.
definitely fire.
I sent one to the.
Let me see it again.
To the Instagram. That I took a little bit ago.
That's definitely fire.
I look fat.
Let me look at it. Ooh, they got hang time back there.
Figured we could probably use a couple behind the scenes pictures.
But as far as anything with the Shield, right?
The Shield. The Shield is the topic. All right.
I think it is Shield. Shield. I think it is Seth Rollins.
You're blaming Seth Rollins.
Yes. Listen, I love Seth Rollins.
See, here's the reason why I feel like you're blaming Seth. Are you blaming like for the whole like retiring Sting and breaking Cena's nose? Like, I get that because I remember Bret Hart like saying some shit about that, but it's all fucking coincidence.
I'm not. Here's my thing. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
I'm not blaming Chef.
Chef? You're not blaming. Hello there, children.
I'm not blaming Seth, but I'm blaming Seth. Right?
That makes no sense to me, but please explain.
Thank you. When we talk about the Shield, right?
All right, the Shield.
We're looking at it ever since he done took the chair to Roman Reigns. What has happened?
Okay, but if you think about it like this, like how was that a Seth problem when Seth's injury happened? And then
after that,
okay, but when Seth came back from injury, there was almost a year before they fucking reunited, dude.
But
yeah, I got you. Because Seth came back. Okay, let's go through the timeline. Seth comes back at Extreme Rules.
Right.
This is April, May, around that area.
Right.
He pedigrees Roman.
Yeah.
Then this was before the brand split in 2016. So 2016, mind you. Mm-hmm. He comes back, pedigrees Roman, brand split's about to happen, they have the triple threat. Dean Ambrose wins, goes on to SmackDown to do that thing, his thing with, he feuded with AJ, he feuded with Dolph Ziggler, then he feuded with AJ.
Right.
And then AJ won his fucking first reign, and then feuded with Cena. And then you had the whole fucking reign of Jinder Mahal and shit after that, which was a good portion, and then you had the whole reign with AJ Styles up into this point. Like nowhere, like in between all of that, there was a Shield reunion. Like they were all doing their own thing because Seth was doing the Intercontinental title thing, and then like when they went back and revisited it, then of course, all that other stuff happened. But it wasn't more of. I don't think it's more of a Seth Rollins thing. It's more of like your schedule drives these guys into the ground, and then when you get those guys together, bad shit just happens. I think it's purely coincidence.
It might be. But as far as how I look at that, right? When I look at Seth Rollins and whatnot, when all of that have happened, I'm like, oh yeah, Seth Rollins turns. Seth Rollins he has his injury. He comes back. Dean Ambrose has his injury. He comes back. Roman Reigns has his leukemia. I'm not.
I don't want to put
like
any further blame on Seth.
No,
the one thing I just thought of was like Jason Jordan also got injured.
He did, but I'm not trying to put no curse on Seth Rollins. I just think that shit like that just happens. You wouldn't think?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying though. It's coincidence.
It is coincidence.
It's fucking coincidence, my man. You just said that straight up. The definition of coincidence.
No, that's facts.
It happens.
That's facts. Listen, I'm not coming at Seth.
You're backtracking now.
No. I'm not coming at Seth Rollins for anything else. I just think it's coincidence.
Don't be in a tag team with Seth Rollins is basically what you're trying to say. But okay.
I love you, Seth.
So speaking of Seth, this past Monday, the weight on everybody's minds was Roman Reigns' diagnosis with leukemia.
Right.
And then at the end of Raw, they won the Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose win the Raw Tag Team Championships. In I don't want to say decisive because it wasn't really that decisive, but in a victory over Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler.
Right.
And then after the match, Dean Ambrose gives Seth Rollins a dirty deeds and beats the fuck out of him.
That shit was crazy.
Well, obviously, I was about to say, what are your thoughts? But then you just said that shit was crazy. So I'll let you take the lead with this one. Tell me what you think. Tell me what, no pun intended here, but what we can expect going forward from this. Because there are a couple of things that I've seen that why the fuck are you so sweaty, dude?
I can't help it, man. I got problems. No, I'm just fine.
But what we can expect going forward in terms of the story, because I've seen some things happening that I'm not sure if you're aware of, that I feel like once I bring them up, it's going to be a very interesting and very dynamic story.
Nah, we're gonna talk about this right now. We had a conversation about this. Remember what I told you? What we expect, or what I expect, is I expect them to do what they did with Kane and Daniel Bryan.
What do you mean?
As far as what I mean by that,
are you talking about like having them go through therapy?
I expect them to not capitalize on the story of what they are presenting to the audience, as far as me and Chris or anyone else. And I feel like
or WWE's on the audience. We're the only two people in the arena.
But nah, I feel like they're not going to do anything with this. So when I said earlier, or how I presented it earlier, they are going to sit there and they're going to say, oh yeah, this is Kane and Daniel Bryan all over again. So we're going to go ahead and put them into a therapist's office.
Dude, if they make Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose go to fucking therapy, dude, please.
It sounds so crazy.
God, I know it sounds.
I feel like they are going to do that.
It sounds so far-fetched, yet exactly like what WWE would do at the same time.
Exactly.
But I also kind of think of like when we talked about this before, because we were trying to save it for this moment in time. I think maybe they'll do the reluctant thing at first, because I was watching an interview that Seth Rollins did where he said it was like, oh, we're friends, like Dean Ambrose is my best friend, like no big deal. And then of course when Dean attacked him, Seth was like saying like it's okay, and then like Dean just kept doing it, and there was like that conflict on Dean's face. I think maybe they'll be reluctant champions at first, but like in the first like maybe one or two matches in, I think Dean will ditch him, and then it'll be Seth like trying to defend the titles on his own, because they're championing Seth as that like I feel like they're going to present Seth Rollins as that baby face who just like never gives up, because it's like Roman Reigns is out. Who's your top baby face now?
You ain't got nobody.
It's got to be Seth. It's Seth Rollins.
But you ain't got no way.
I mean, logically, it's Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
To me, like, I mean, unless you do something with, like, Drew McIntyre.
I mean, Seth Rollins was supposed to be the guy anyway.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad about it.
I don't
100%. It's unfortunate of the circumstances, you know, that would cause him to be, like, the guy. But I definitely think, like, he's going to be your top babyface going forward. But... what is my dog doing? All right,
We're laughing at Corgi. Corgi has an Instagram page.
Yeah, Tater Tot _ the Corgi.
If you want
follow her on Instagram. But I think they're gonna have Seth be like the one and only champion, trying to defend the belts. And in my mind, I think they lose the tag titles to the Authors of Pain.
Yeah, you told me that.
I think that just makes sense. It makes
perfect sense.
Like who else is in the tag team division? You know, Matt Hardy had to unfortunately retire, which I don't.
I heard that he didn't really retire.
I don't know what the deal is with that. Like, I think it's like an unofficial retirement or something like that. But I mean, I would love to see the Revival be the guys to champion it. I loved.
We know that's not gonna happen.
I want it to though. I loved the B team. I thought they were just fucking awesome. The comedy gold, like he said, where he was like, you can't spell WWE facts. Tag Team Champions without the B team.
This is facts. Let me ask you something. If there was one group, I'm gonna say group. If there was one group that you couldn't, you know.
Are you asking me who I would like pair together as a tag team?
No, not pair together. If there was one group that's already a group that you can just put up there, who would it be?
To win the belts?
Win the belts, or
I don't know,
being contendership for the title?
I mean, other than New Day and the Bar, what is
New Day has the title.
New Day, the Bar
has the title.
New Day, the Bar, and the Usos. Like, what's WWE's tag division? WWE's tag division flip flops from Raw to SmackDown.
That's facts.
Like, what does Raw have? Like, the Revival, the B team, I think.
Is there anyone?
The Authors of Pain,
Titus
Worldwide.
But is there anyone that you would put up in that position that hasn't been in that position?
Authors of Pain.
Authors of Pain.
I think that's the only. To me, that is the only logical thing that makes sense. Mm-hmm. You have these big like Vince McMahon should be in the back gorilla position, jacking off when he see those guys because they are everything that he's ever wanted. Especially in a fucking tag team, they're both like big ass jacked motherfuckers.
Let me say this real quick. You know how Vince, he even said this. Vince hates factions now. For some reason.
Yeah, I don't understand why that's...
I don't know why.
Especially if you look at NXT, you know?
Oh, let me ask this question. I'm gonna go off script as far as what I thought. As far as the faction, anyone, who would you want?
What do you mean?
As far as the faction,
who would I want in a faction?
Yeah. No. As far as... there's factions, right?
Right.
Who would you want to be continued as a faction?
If we're going on... So you mean like... I just want to make sure I'm understanding this question.
Mm-hmm.
So are you meaning like factions that exist now, but bringing them up to that position in the WWE?
It doesn't matter. You could say Evolution. You could say the Four Horsemen. You could say...
well, I mean, to me...
With Adam Cole and his group.
Oh, I was going to say the Undisputed Era. Like,
Undisputed.
They need to be the guys, like... If there's a faction that sticks together and has the dominance that the Shield has and had...
Undisputed?
It's got to be the Undisputed Era. There are multiple dudes. Like, Adam Cole, you know what I mean? Like, they all have what it is. Kyle O'Reilly with his fucking air guitar and sleaziness, and Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish. Like,
this is why we so good together, man. I love you. Pause. At the same time, but I love you at the same time because it's just like I was gonna say that.
It's just the most. That is the most organic faction that WWE has had. Like, while I thought that DIY, I mean, they're not really a faction, but they're a tag team.
Right.
Like, while I thought that they were organic, but it's like, you have that built into where if they were to ever split them up, there's already that history with Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly are already a proven tag team in the world. Roderick Strong is already, like, proven to be one of the best motherfucking singles competitors in the world. That's the king of the backbreaker. You have those guys that...
It's facts.
My only fear is that they're not gonna recognize that. Vince is gonna look at them and be like,
I mean, you know,
they're barely 6 foot tall. They're 210 pounds. Like, the only one I could see, if barring worst case scenario, you know what I mean? Like, worst case, shit goes south. They split them up and they don't know what to do with them.
Right.
I think Adam Cole is the one that would, like, rise above all the bullshit.
Nah, I think everything that we have did today and whatnot, we done did everything that we need to do. I love everything about the podcast that we need to do.
Quan is pretty drunk.
Quan's feeling it.
I've been noticing that for like the last 15 minutes because you've just been making like 33% sense.
Shut up.
You can tell by the look on his face.
Oh yeah.
I know the viewers can't.
Quan's got like that,
but
like my eyes are squinty. Like,
hey, people,
he's smiling a lot.
Audience, this is why you're gonna love the podcast. You're gonna love that everybody keeping it real.
That's all it is. Like 100% real.
Completely unscripted.
No opinions unless WWE wants to pay
facts.
me, like to talk positively about them. So WWE, our email address for business inquiries is whatweexpect@gmail.com. Send over some paperwork, maybe an autographed Triple H picture. We'll talk about it.
Put your email.
You see, you should have said an autographed Vince McMahon picture, and you probably would
Maybe.
not
WWE, I tell you what, to get me to talk positively about you, get Vince McMahon to come on the show and do an interview with
This
us.
is facts.
And
this is definitely
we are
facts.
going to continuously call you out, WWE,
every episode.
every fucking episode until Vince McMahon is sitting in my spare bedroom in front of my computer with my fucking microphone and he's talking to us and we get to pick his brain. And I understand that he doesn't do interviews, but this motherfucker better make an exception for what we expect. Because let me tell you, do you know what WWE stands for? It's not Walk with Elias. It's what we expect. So, Vince McMahon,
you hear that shit?
if you want me as your shill, right now's the time. I'm putting it out there, and I'm going to call you out. I'm going to tweet you every day. I maybe even send a bag of shit to your house.
These is facts.
But if you want us to say nice things about you and your company and your shitty dealings with the Saudis, you better fucking buy our love.
These is facts.
I want to be the stepkid that you like recognize and you understand that he's there and he may not be your actual biological child, but you want to buy his love. I want to be that stepkid whose love you buy.
These are facts. Listen, WWE, I love you.
We love you. There's a special place in our heart for you. We even chose you to be the initials for our podcast.
These are facts.
But send us free shit.
Listen, always walk with
what we expect. So www.
I love y'all. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone. As always, you can always follow us on Twitter at WWE_cast. You can follow Quan at RockoutWitSpiff. There's no H in that. And then you can find me at Metzilla_. That's M-E-T and then like Zilla, like Godzilla, and the fucking underscore. This has been the second episode of What We Expect. Please let us know your thoughts. As always, this is going to sound cliche for YouTube, but please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us what you think about the Roman Reigns situation. Tell us where you think this is going to go. And then just give us your thoughts. Maybe even if you want, I would love to see some questions. Even list your top 5 favorite wrestlers. You know, if there's a list that we agree with, or if there's a list that, we think would be interesting conversation, we'll be more than happy to bring it up and give you credit for that. But really, any interaction, just comment, tell us what you think. All feedback is positive and negative. If it's negative, we might make fun of you and call you a pussy. But hey, it's still getting acknowledged and we understand it.
Facts.
But thank you again for listening and sticking around with us for this last hour while we spout drunken bullshit. This has, again, been the second episode of What We Expect. Stay tuned for more.
Bye.
Bye.
Follow us on Instagram.